Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Jiraiya could admit that he was a lot of things in his old age, from a raging pervert to a world-renowned author. His first craft, however, and what he considered the most important, was being a master spy. When the Leaf needed information, from troop movements to political wheeling and dealing, they called him first. So hunting down Naruto from whatever rumors sprung up in the nations around the Land of Fire was left to Jiraiya and Jiraiya alone. Sure, the old man had strong-armed Tsunade into it, he had blackmail after all, but he was determined to find the boy. So today found him on the trail of the latest rumor. A port town in Rice country that had been liberated from some gang or another that had been subjugating the people. As he walked through town he paid close attention to the happy faces, the busy fishing boats and what looked like several heavy goods transports. This port was bustling, nothing like the run-down wreck he had been expecting to find. He had already lucked out at the docks, curious about where all the goods were going, but no mention of anything close to Naruto himself. Finding himself near the market where several stalls were set up and trying to serve their local wares to travelers, he sidled up to one offering fried squid. How about one for the road? The woman serving the snack looked up to him with a wide smile, though the older woman was missing a tooth or two. She however set about grilling up a fresh batch with a nod. You're not from around here, huh? Just passing through? Jiraiya nods. Yeah, looking for a friend's son, kid gets lost real easy. The woman nods. My nephew is like that. Wanders from place to place all of the time. I swear he'd lose his head if it wasn't attached. Jiraiya laughs as he watches her work. Place is busy today. It always like this? Laughing and shaking her head, the woman hands over his requested food. We have the maelstrom to thank for this. Cleaned up this country real good, he did. We owe him a lot. Jiraiya nods, handing over her requested ryo and a little extra. Sounds like a great guy. He running around protecting rice still? Turning away the woman shrugged. No clue. Someone said our daimyo was meeting with the spring daimyo soon. Maybe he's working for them? Getting another order, she tuned out Jiraiya, who was already walking away, munching on his snack and weaving through the crowd. Spring, huh? Jiraiya didn't see a connection, but he also didn't have any other leads. Additionally, all these goods had to be going somewhere and spring was close. It took him a few minutes to leisurely leave the town and make his way into the trees and out of sight. He soon made himself comfortable on a large branch and summoned a smaller toad. Good afternoon, Master Jiraiya. Hey kid, give me just a minute, need to write a letter for ya to take to Tsunade. Yes sir. Jiraiya unsealed an empty scroll and a brush, getting to writing away and explaining where he was going next. As he wrote he frowned as he thought about the last month or so. He always seemed just a week or two behind wherever Naruto had been. First it had been the Northern Sound base, then the base in Rice, and now again all over Rice country after leaving for a while. Wherever Naruto went, lives changed, usually for the better. Though there was a lot of violence involved, explosive as per usual with the boy. In Jiraiya's mind Naruto absolutely had to be the child of prophecy, but with his current mindset of blow everything up, what would that mean for the future? Would the Naruto of now want to save this world in the end? Or raise it to the ground? Jiraiya didn't want to risk it and considered it imperative that he found the kid quickly and got back to training him properly. He had to make sure the kid ended up seeing that life and humanity in general were worth saving, not just a few precious people. Everyone should have a chance, even the ones that hurt you. Finishing up his letter, he reminds the toad that he'll be going to spring next and to let Tsunade know as he hands it over to the toad, who salutes him. Watching his summon puff away, Jiraiya slowly gets to his feet with a groan and considers just how he's going to do that. Wasn't that famous actress in Spring? Maybe a joint venture with his book series was in order? Far to the south in the Land of Fire, within Konoha itself, Tsunade is receiving a report from Shizune about the upcoming visit from the daimyo and the village's preparations. True to their thoughts, the civilians were in the dark and celebrating the visit, while the ninja were very much on edge. Concentration breaking however as a toad appears on her desk holding a scroll out to her, she takes it with a smile and watches the toad vanish in a puff of smoke. Jiraiya or Naruto question mark. Wasn't Gamakichi, had to be Jiraiya. Tsunade opens it, reading quickly yet quietly as Shizune waits. Getting the gist of it and seeing where he was headed next, Tsunade sighs and puts the note away in her desk. Shizune tilts her head slightly and raises her question. Anything new question mark. No. Hasn't caught up yet but thinks spring might have some clues. Tsunade leans back in her cushy seat and groans, maybe you and I can track down the kid, stay with him instead. Shizune finally sits in the chair across from her mentor, seeing as they was going to be informal. I'm sure it would be much more pleasant than staying here. Huh, didn't think you'd go for it. Shizune pauses as she thinks about that. I love my village. I do. But something has changed here. Sure, we've made great changes to the medical corps and you've somehow reigned in some of the council, but it's still, I don't know. Bleak. Yes, for lack of better word. The village just doesn't have the same lively feel, the same spark, that it once did. Tsunade however agrees, voicing something that had been bothering her all this time, especially after dealing with Danzo. It feels like someone is still working behind the scenes. Changing things, grabbing control. We know it isn't Naruto, he seems to be busy running roughshod all over the nations. But Danzo, hey, I could see that old bastard making a play for my seat during all of this. Do you really think he would do something with the daimyo here question mark? Tsunade nods, it'd be the perfect time. Make the argument that all of this has happened under my rule, that I seem to be dealing with all of these issues, even if they were leftovers from the third, and that I have virtually no support on the council. He could make a legal play and gain daimyo support all within one visit. Here Tsunade glumly pushes around some paper, not much I'd be able to do if the daimyo asks for my removal. Shizune frowns, you're still going to fight it right question mark. Naruto did fight to make sure you would be the next Hokage. She liked the boy and didn't want to see his hard work thrown away. Tsunade nods, of course I am. The kid gave me the kick in the ass I needed. If Danzo thinks he can play around and take the hat from me easy then he has another thing coming. Sensing a team coming the legendary ninja motions for Shizune to stand. She does so and comes around to Tsunade's shoulder as Team 7 enters her office. Kakashi is in the lead, you summoned us Lord Hokage question mark. Tsunade nods, digging through another pile of paperwork to find a scroll and toss it to the Jonin. There's been some movement around wave that's been interesting me. Doesn't seem military, but lots of civilians. I'm worried the likes of Orochimaru is up to something disgusting again, so I'd like you and your team to look into it, most of you have a history there after all. Just recon, no combat. If you find yourself in a combat situation do everything you can to leave quickly. What she was curious about was that for such a small nation that had many people headed that way meant they had to be using waves ports. But why question mark the only major nation out that way that would require ships from wave would be Kiri, but they were still in a civil war weren't they question mark had that changed question mark. Kakashi salutes and ushers the team out, mind already considering the possibilities just as Tsunade was. Sakura however is excited as they descend the stairs towards the ground floor. I wonder how Tsunami, Tazuna, and Inari are doing question mark think things are better for them now question mark. Sasuke nods, have to be, Naruto exterminated Gato for them, unless some other despot moved in. The two teammates brainstormed back and forth with ideas while Sai and Kakashi walked along silently behind them. Kakashi because he was deep in his thoughts and Sai because he had not been on that mission and had nothing to add nor had any curiosity about it. The file provided by Danzo had been thorough. Behind them Tsunade frowned as she motioned for Shizune to close the door. After she had done so Tsunade pointed at it, that's another problem. Danzo stepping in and providing an apprentice as a replacement for Team 7 question mark it stinks, worse than rotten eggs. Everything about it makes me want to pick up and run like the debtors are after us. Shizune giggles, at least your good luck curse isn't acting up. Don't remind me, the second it does you and me are outta here. She meant it too. Wherever the kid was, it had to be better than this. Deep in Hot Spring Country we find another group of globetrotters on the lookout for a explosion-happy blonde. Killer Bee and Yugito along with a hastily added Team Sim we have found and are relaxing in a rather cozy outdoor spring, though the group is separated by a partition. They could talk over it, but thankfully for the girls, the men wouldn't be peeping. Yugito, however, is relaxing back with a smile, the warm water pleasing not just herself but also the Matatabi as well, if the purring she could hear was any indication. These is the life. I can't remember the last time I was able to relax like this. Karui groaned, I'd be happier back home. Why did we get added on for this ? It's just some kid, right ? Sumui was rubbing her shoulders and trying to work out the knots there, we're coming along as some extra help, just in case the kids' tastes vary. While she wasn't one normally for seduction missions, if her cage asked, she would do her duty. Karui scoffed, of course they send the boob monsters along. Men are such garbage sometimes. Yugito sighs in bliss, don't ruin this for me, alright. This is the most freedom I've had in a while and I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. Got it ? One wanna milk it for all it's worth. Over the wall, B agrees with part of the sentiment, being out and about is nice, no doubt. Sumui finally relaxes completely into the water, her short hair floating like a halo around her. This is going to do wonders for my back. Jealousy spiking through her, Karui mutters quietly, bet we could cut those utters off, that'd do wonders for your back. Thinking about things and ignoring her teammate, Sumui calls out to B, gotta ask. Do you really want to find this kid at all ? He's a container like you and Yugito. You gotta know what he's probably gone through by now. B shrugs as Omoi himself is relaxed enough to fall asleep. It looks like, I sort of do, and sort of don't. Rapping turned off, it's Karui who picks up on his mood shift. Why the hesitation ? Well, think about it. Mr. 9 left Konoha, the Bleeding Heart village that usually produces some of the most loyal ninja of the land, some of which have been abnormally powerful. And he left ? What would cause that to happen ? Someone try to kill him ? Someone try to hurt someone close to him ? We don't know, but I could see them stopping at nothing to get him back. Them, and everyone else just like us. This is a race, with potentially world war consequences. Yugito nods, he's right. One wrong move and even before we find this guy we could spark a conflict. The QB is without a doubt, the strongest Biju ever. Even compared to B and his Biju combined. So it's like a shitty game of hide and seek. Only the seekers are from every other major village on the planet and the hider is capable of leveling countries. So a race against time. Sumui utters out quietly. Yup. Hopefully though, as containers ourselves we'll be able to sniff him out before anyone else. Since no one seems to know where he is or where he'll end up next. Yugito speaks up again while internally the Matatabi pipes up. He has been through this area, you know. Frowning, Yugito directed her irritation at the Biju. You didn't think to say something sooner ? You never asked ? Why would I need to ask you to keep an eye out for his chakra ? Oh, I'm sorry kitten, I didn't know I was your permanent chakra sensor. And I thought you wanted this vacation ? Yugito wanted to rebut that, but really in the end couldn't, so let it go, lazy cat. Better than the blonde in Heat for a child. I was joking. No, you weren't. B however knocks on the divider to gain everyone's attention, might as well enjoy this moment of rest while we can. We'll be all over the nation soon, looking like that rover, but don't bend over for the rover we'll be looking for. Getting exasperated groans from everyone, they settled in to relax and be at peace. None of them were sure how long they would be able to have that after all. B. Temari could say with certainty that taking the job as a diplomat wasn't all that bad, if anything it was pretty chill. Sure, in the leaf she had to hang around stuff old men or that lazy-ass Shikamaru, but it gave her chances like this, wandering into her ocean-side town across the absolutely most massive bridge she had ever seen. Curious however at the monument sitting at the end, she stopped to read it while a steady influx and outflow of people passed her by. The Great Naruto Bridge, where our country had our hopes and dreams returned to us by a kind but determined man. We thank Team 7 for helping us in our time of need. Huh, that kid really did get around, didn't he ? Shaking herself and continuing on, she decided to explore a little bit before she focused on her main goal of this trip. Acting the role of tourist, she explored the market district that overlooked the port area, which itself was busy. Muster a lot of shipping through here, no wonder they wanted to open trade with us. This small country must be raking in some serious cash with that much traffic. Focusing, she came upon a stand selling takoyaki that she happily purchased and continued on, walking through the busier section of town towards a walkway that overlooked the port district. Eating and thinking, she watched all manner of ships coming and going. No wonder there are so many civilians moving through here. Busy port like this means work, steady work at that. Enjoying the clear sky and clear weather, munching away while thinking idly she wasn't seeing anything nefarious here. Sure, they got the letter about Naruto, but this might be pointing to something more. Was someone using Naruto's name to build a reputation? Was Naruto going along with it? She didn't know the kid well enough to make a judgment other than he seemed real kind at heart. Coming up next to her, a slightly shorter woman in a red blouse and blue skirt leaned against the same railing Temari had found for herself. It's a lovely day, isn't it? Odd. Did she know this woman? Ah, yeah. If you can get over the smell of the sea. It did have a particular smell to it, life sure, but not all of it alive. You get used to it around here. It reminds us of where we came from. The woman turned dark eyes to Temari. My name is Tsunade. It's nice to meet you, Miss Ninja. What is your name? Ah, Temari? Wait, was this the woman she was supposed to meet here? She was the one who sent the letter, wasn't she? You're. Yes, I sent the letter to your Kazekage. I assume with your presence you're open to talks? Temari nodded dumbly, caught flat-footed. Either this woman was the most talented ninja she had ever met, capable of hiding even the smallest amount of chakra, or she was a complete civilian. And no civilian should have been able to get the drop on her like this. Interesting. My brother was interested, yes, though we had some questions. You did say you needed to wait for your leader. Tsunade stepped away to bow lightly and then turned. Please follow me. We can discuss things at my home. Walking away once she saw Temari joining her, Tsunade led the way. Your town is very busy, has it always been this way? Oh no, we didn't improve until a particular Leaf Ninja team showed up and showed us a better way. Since then we've taken the lesson to heart. We took over the Gato Corporation and have been exploiting it and its resources ever since. Here Tsunade looked to the younger woman next to her with a smile. Of course, we have higher aspirations now that we plan on making come true. I see. And Temari could as well. As they walked she could see evidence of new construction, buildings and new roads, even a very large warehouse along the main road that seemed to be a hive of activity. What's this? Tsunade motioned with a hand, one of our aid stations. Ever since we started advertising for work we've been getting refugees and the like. Some aren't in the best of shape, so we set up stations like this to help them get back on their feet while they find work and lodgings. They passed the warehouse soon enough, Temari looking inside the well-lit place, its overhead lighting humming in her ears. The rest of the trip out towards the outskirts of town were in silence, Temari almost vibrating with questions but not willing to upset this tranquil woman. Temari still couldn't get an exact read on her and it was setting her on edge. Soon before a cozy-looking two-story home, Tsunade opened the front door to usher the ninja inside. Closing the door behind her, Tsunade motioned to the couch. Please have a seat, I'll be back in a moment. Watching Temari sit as requested, Tsunade made for the basement, again closing that door behind her. Lights coming on, she was soon at the bottom of the steps and locating the Haration tag on the wall. Tapping on it lightly several times, she stepped away from it and waited. Within a few breaths Naruto appeared before her, black pants and boots somewhat dusty, orange shirt and chainmail on display. The taller muscular boy had a frown on his face. Everything okay? Tsunade? Oh yes, sorry, I did not mean to worry you. We have a visitor. Visitor? Tsunade nods. Yes, your chakra sensor seals picked her up. A young woman from the Sand Village, Temari, she said her name was. Blonde hair in 4 pigtails, black dress and a large fan on her back. Naruto rifles through his memories before nodding. Yup, that's Temari, wonder why she's here. I sent a letter considering possible trade agreements and a possible alliance while you were away. Tsunade closed her eyes and put a finger to her chin. I did not think they would send someone so soon. Naruto however just sighed. Everyone likes making more work for me. However he drew himself up because this was a good opportunity. The Sand siblings weren't bad, he didn't think, just got caught up with a shitty situation. Of the same idea, he didn't have a problem with Suna or Wind Country, and this would be a good way to open up the trade routes a bit. Anything I should know before I get up there? I mainly offered trade for heavy metals and glass, making sand for fishing and water imports, along with the alliance offer. Naruto nodded as he thought about that. Tazuna was saying something about possibly running low soon on metals, and we can always use glass. Okay, we'll get this meeting started and maybe set up something more formal later. Maybe we can go to Suna instead so we can flash away in an emergency. A wonderful idea. Okay, I got this then. She's upstairs? Naruto was starting to get into this. Yes, alone at that. Naruto nodded. Okay, we got this then. Lead the way. By the way, I appreciate this. You thinking ahead for us. Tsunade bows. Yes, of course, my lord. My pleasure. Oh, don't tell me you're going to start that too. I told you, did I not? We are your people to lead and command. Right, got it. Tsunade opening the door and standing aside. Naruto grinned as he stepped out and took in the sight of the blonde Suna Nin. Yo. Eyes widening with surprise, the kunoichi was again caught flat-footed. You're actually here? Naruto nods. Yup. Sorry I didn't meet you right away. Been busy with work. Naruto came around to sit on the chair opposite to the couch Temari was sitting on, Tsunade standing to his left. So, Naruto leaned forward a bit with some focus. So then, we've piqued your interest then? Temari nods. My brother was interested mainly because you were mentioned. We'd obviously have to set something up more formal, but I came just to get an idea of how true the letter was. Naruto nodded. Well, it's me for sure. I'm sure you can be discreet about this. Naruto winks. Really don't want the leaf to get wind of me right now. So they were right. Naruto did leave the leaf for good. Interesting. Of course we can. We're ninja after all. Great, because I'm rebuilding my clan's previous village into something much more grand, and I want to keep it standing for a long time. And a zoo needs a lot of resources. Temari taps a fist into an open palm. That's why you need us, heavy metals and silicates for construction material. Naruto nods. That's why we're offering ocean trade routes, fishing, and water imports as well. Some of your biggest needs, as well as in the future, mission sharing between ninja villages. If he remembered his lecture from Kakashi, the whole reason Suna had problems to begin with was they were receiving less and less missions. As long as he was willing to spread the love, so to speak, that shouldn't ever be a problem. The trade alone would be worth it. Mission shares, however, that was already on its own bordering on actually alliance and partnership, something they hadn't even gotten with any of the other major villages in the past. Grinning, the girl leans back, shifting her legs for one over the other. I think my brother could absolutely go for this. We'll have to set up a time to really have a meeting between leaders soon. Naruto reaches forward with a hand, shaking her own after a moment. I agree. Give me a bit and I can write a letter personally for Gaara. Temari pauses. Wait, you're going to write the letter? Who's your leader? Naruto's grin became somewhat feral. That'd be me. Not officially the Azukage just yet, barely a village to lead, but Kyuki likes to call me the Shadow Cage. Seeing the girl's deadpan look, he shrugged. It's growing on me. No one expects Explosion Boy to actually be able to think or lead. Makes sense. Temari unseals her own letter from her brother to Naruto, handing it over to him with a coy smile. Hey, just a thought. Seeing she had his attention, she smirked and raked her eyes over his attractive and well-formed frame. How do you feel about blondes? Oh dear. Deep within a forest that sported both super large trees and larger-than-life mushrooms, an irritated and dirty Kuretsuki was cursing up a storm as she found herself lost yet again in this maddening place. When I get the fuck outta here, I'm kicking this asshole's ass. Fuck the leaf and fuck the maelstrom. She knew her grandfather had warned her against fighting, but if this kept up, she just wasn't going to have a choice in the matter. She was going to have to murder someone to get back her good mood. Finding a river finally, something she could follow for a while, she frowned as she saw the footsteps on its bank. Are those my footprints? She remembered crossing a river coming into this forest. Did she really go in a large circle? I wanna go home. Naruto could say he was proud of a lot of things he had accomplished by now. Smacking the shit out of 3 Sannin, defeating a Biju, saving 2 separate countries. Not even 15 yet, and he had accomplished quite a bit so far. However, what he was maybe not so secretly most proud of was his construction involving a zoo. Bending his knowledge of seals outside of explosions, well, mostly, he had found a new way of digging long lengths of tunnels. Today was no different, now a month since they decided to stay in a zoo and help with restoration and rebuilding efforts. Inspecting a wall full of seals and careful lines, Naruto backed away with his lines of clones. Okay. Hit it. On either end of the 50-meter wide tunnel, 2 clones walked up to the wall and applied chakra to the seal array. The entire wall began to glow blue for a long minute before, with barely a whisper, the rock crumbled into pieces while the 2 clones popped from exhausting their chakra. A ling of waiting clones instantly rushed forward and began to clear the rubble, while another dozen rushed forward the 100 meters to the next wall to begin drawing the next set of seals. Behind Naruto himself, a former snow and now spring engineer named Takoda looked on with awe. My lord, if only we had this on our end of the construction, this would be done before the month was out. Naruto grinned brightly. Well, as it is, we're looking at what, 3 months ? Naruto wasn't the best at math when he left the academy, but seal research and copious clone usage had changed that. Plus, this was pretty basic math really. We've got less than 600 km between a zoo and the tunnel from spring. So, we can do 100 meters every 20 minutes. That's 300 meters an hour. And Takoda nodded along. I've done the math as well, you'll hit more than the goal before 3 months are up, plus, the other tunnel is still growing, although much slower. So possibly we might be done within 2 months if this keeps up. Naruto nods as another group of clones are setting up temporary lights along the walls to provide new light for the next section. Well, I'm motivated and can throw clones at the problem. Turning back to the man, Naruto kept his grin up. Need to head back to spring, or do you need to stick around ? Takoda shook his head. You're on the correct track and I haven't had to correct you at all. I should be getting back. Naruto nods again and turns to address a clone carrying some stone to the combined group of Ino and Jugo. Let the others know I'll be right back. Gotta take our spring engineer back real quick. The clone saluted. Will do. Naruto grabbed the average-looking man and was gone in a flash, leaving behind the clone who rushed to deposit his load of stone before the pair of earth users who were converting the pile of rubble into usable bricks and stone slabs. Boss wants ya to know he skipped out for a minute to take back that engineer. Ino nods while wiping her brow of sweat. Got it. How are we looking ? Engineer says maybe 3 months max before we link up with the spring group. Woo, that's fast. I guess we're all pretty motivated though. The clone wiggled its eyebrows. Any day with you Ino is pretty motivating. Ino blushed but waved him a get going before I try to find out if a clone is durable or not. Cheeky clone rushing off with a laugh. Jugo finished converting a pile of rubble into a stack of usable slabs that several waiting clones began to rush off with. I did not realize how taxing this could be. Ino nodded, getting back into the swing of things. I didn't either until we started this. I tell ya though, my reserves have never been larger. Guess construction and manual labor does wonders for chakra control and reserves ? Ino thought about that in terms of Gen and D rank missions. Was that what they were really about? Working kids up to usable chakra reserves along with mental and physical preparation ? Something to keep in mind, she guessed. Something tells me though Naruto will take it as a challenge and find a way to finish that sooner. Jugo looks at their pile beginning to dwindle and nods. Lord Naruto does seem to have an amazing level of focus when he has a task to complete. Ino nods. You don't know the half of it. Converter a new pile, she realized with a start they were finished for the moment while they waited for the next section of tunnel to be excavated. Hinata however was approaching them, a basket full of food in hand. I have lunch everyone. Where's the real Naruto ? Ino waved her hand this way and that, dropping off the spring engineer and probably getting assaulted by Kayuki. He'll be back in a minute. Hinata giggled and sat down with the other two, beginning to hand out first thermos full of tea and then food. Today was hearty boar sandwiches. I'll need to start applying some new wind seals to the wall soon, but we've made great progress today. Jugo nodded. According to Naruto, we should be well under the country of hot springs by now. Ino sighed. Yeah, with Naruto's motivation we'll be meeting up with the spring group before we leave for Konoha and the Daimyo visit. Guess that's a good thing though. Bridging the gap between Spring and Azu would do wonders both for materials transport but as well as moving people. Azushio was going to come back into the world strong and more advanced than ever if Naruto had his way. Ino was excited to see what that meant. Hinata sighed, I just hope we can convince Naruto to rest and take some time off. I know this is important to him but I don't want to see him wear himself out. Ino pointed at the pale-eyed girl, you're probably the best one of us to convince him to relax. Unless you wanna tag team him ? Ino wiggled her own eyes at the other girl, who giggled and shook her head. No, though. Seeing a Naruto clone walk by, Hinata grabs it, could you dispel Naruto to let him know he needs to eat ? We have lunch here. Or, can't I get some incentive to leave ? How about some skin ? Maybe we could go make out ? Hinata rolls her eyes, dispel and Naruto will in fact get something special when he returns. Yatta. The clone dispelled, while Hinata just shook her head and turned back to the others. What are we going to do with him ? Ino merely leered at all the clones, some curious as they rushed by during their assigned tasks. I have some ideas. Naruto himself flashed into the midst of the group, attracted to the seals attached to either Hinata or Ino. I'm here for food. Hinata was already shoving an overloaded sandwich into his hands. Eat, relax, then get back to it. We have lots of time thanks to your clones. Jugo shakes his head while the three talk and nods a subtly flirt back and forth. He hadn't regretted joining this group since leaving the Sound. He had something new here. Something fulfilling. Taking a deep drink of his tea, food long finished, he wondered how that Sasam girl was doing. More than 100 miles away back in Azu, Karen is walking along with Tazuna as they inspect the construction site around the admin building. Nearly complete with the freed-up labor due to Naruto's clones, they were inside one of the lower levels inspecting a large map detailing the island nation. Karen is pointing along the coast, we can apply new defensive seals here and here, along with several barriers along these close channels to block off potential ninja invaders. Tazuna however points to several sections along the north and west, it'd probably be better to apply them here and here wouldn't it ? Konoha is west of this point and Lightning is north of this point. Karen thinks it over for a moment before nodding. Both of the sections Tazuna had pointed at were large rocky beaches that would weather erosion very well and wouldn't require much upkeep. I might need to borrow Ino and Jugo from Naruto for a bit soon. I have an idea for a new project dealing with our nation's defense. This of course piques Tazuna's interest. Ino and Jugo were part of the earth-moving team, what could Karen need with them ? Wanna clue an old man into what you're thinking ? Karen thinks it over, leaning against his work table while around him the loud construction continues on. Well, with the Kamenu mask, I can imbue life into an object. I'm thinking of having Ino and Jugo build the likeness of great sea beasts and I can fill them with life and a goal, defend our home. Both a visual and physical deterrent, yeah no ? Plus I was thinking of adding environmental seals to shroud the islands in a perpetual mist that never fades as another layer of protection. Tazuna wonders over that a bit, before pointing out a problem in his mind, wouldn't people get suspicious about mythical monsters tearing apart ships ? Maybe, but no ships come this way in the first place. All of our shipping is going through Wave and we plan to keep it that way. I guess we should come up with some defensive options for Wave. Tazuna thought that one over, maybe later, once you go public about Azushio returning to the world. Once that happens, maybe something very noticeable ? Like water-based towers that can be manned by ninja. Karen somewhat likes that idea, maybe we can add in projectile launchers from Spring, they've developed some interesting tech no ? Could be useful. Yeah that's true, would let normal people man the towers as well. Tazuna takes a minute to watch the girl think things over and write in a notepad carefully. Sue. Here his meddling grandpa side was beginning to come out. When are you going to make a move on Naruto boy ? At least I can tell you have some feelings for him. Karen blushes but waves the old man off. Well, there hasn't been time. Tazuna's deadpan look lets her know that she isn't going to misdirect or lie her way out of this one. I don't feel like I measure up to the others. They've all done something great or had some amashing experience with him. And me ? One of his clones saved me during the Chunin exams in Konoha. I want to do something grand. I wanna be able to stand just as tall as all the others, ya no ? Then I'll make my move. Tazuna sighs, reaching over and tussling the redhead's hair while she squeaks and tries to get away. This old man thinks you're overthinking things. It's your life, but maybe, ya know, live it a little spontaneously from time to time. Saying his piece and seeing they were all caught up with their updates, he waved and moved on to direct some workers who were looking lost. Karen herself is trying to control her blush as she thinks it over. Was she overthinking it? Possibly. At the same time, she just wanted to feel like she was actually adding to the group, doing something meaningful. Once she did that, well, then maybe she would feel worthy of the love Naruto had already expressed for her. Hyping herself up and adjusting her glasses, the girl turned to leave the slowly completing building. She had seals to place. Across the bay back in Wave, Tayuya is watching over Tsunade. Tsunade is as usual with her newly self-designated duties, helping with the refugees at the aid station. Tsunade is however looking over her shoulder as she stands from reassuring a newly arrived family of 3 that things will be alright. You know I don't need a bodyguard. Tayuya shrugs, maybe. But we all said we would do our part. The others can do construction or work with seals. I'm good at fighting, and barriers if pressed. Tempering her usual crass language around the tranquil woman, Tayuya shared a tidbit of her inner self. Azu doesn't need a fighter right now, and Kyuki is taken care of with Kotohime and Kin, so I'm here and watching over you instead. Tsunade however stands straight and dusts herself off, looking around and seeing she can relax for a while, things well at hand. What then, when the village is well and truly running on its own? What will you do then? Tayuya pauses as she thinks about that. Protecting Naruto was moot, he could level just about anyone if he wanted. They would surely train and have their own Azu ninja as well, so missions wouldn't be required of her for long. I don't know. Short term maybe help build a village police corps, or help with putting together an academy training program I guess. At minimum she knew how to train, so she could be useful that way. Tsunade watches the girl work through her thoughts, a frown developing on her own face. Wouldn't that just continue what you are doing now? Well yeah, but it's what I'm good at. I could teach a policing force to use barriers to protect people. Fighting skills to take care of rowdy civilians or drunk ninja. Tayuya thinks of her own past, along with Karen's and Naruto's. I don't want to see Azushio fall again. If I can do anything to make sure that doesn't happen again, I'll do it. No matter how small an effort. She didn't want to see any more Azushio children suffer like they did. Especially like she did. No one deserved that. Tsunade nods along with her sentiment, walking towards a newly arrived family of 4 that was settling into the temporary space before being placed either in Wave or Whirlpool. The family is clearly broken, no parents present. The oldest looked to be a teenager no older than 14. Storm gray eyes and a strong build, long hair in a ponytail, the boy fretted over his younger siblings while watching their surroundings. Tsunade could tell the boy wanted to go look for work, but didn't trust the staff here enough to leave the children to do so. They must have been through a lot to get here. Can I help you, young man? The boy shook his head quickly, eyeing both women cautiously. We're good, just settling in is all. Tayuya however has a frown on her face, still lost in her memories. Look, it's not my business. But the people here are good people. She focuses a bit more on the boy as he pays closer attention to her. You did your job. You got your family to safety and in one piece. Now your job is to find work so they can eat. Our job is to watch out for everyone here. Let us do our job, so you can do yours. How do I know I can trust any of you? The boy was quiet as one of the 3 sisters was sleeping, though the other 2 were wide awake and watching them. A lot has happened. Trusting others is dangerous. Tayuya nods, not hesitating before pulling up her shirt slightly and exposing a long scar along her side. I get it. Trust me. But these are good people here, they'll watch your sisters while you go find some work. And believe me, there's always some work around here. Even with Naruto's clones they still had so much to do. She'd have to remind the others to make Naruto take a day or 2 off. The boy really thought about it. Everyone here had been welcoming and inviting in a sincere way. This Kunoichi as well, she wasn't obligated to talk to him at all, obviously tasked with protecting the organizer here. That meant to him that she had no real reason to lie unless it was boredom, and he doubted that. Could you point me in the direction of some work then? One don't know much, but I know some ship work at least and some light construction. Tsunade chimes in now, a bright smile on her face. There's a job board over by the main doors. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for there. The docks always need good strong hands. Nodding, the boy again turns to Tayuya. I'm Ran. Thanks for the pep talk. Tayuya waves him off. Just watch out for the little ones. Tayuya watched him assure his siblings before wandering off. Tayuya too watched him go before she was met with 3 smiling faces. Wasn't the third one sleeping? The next oldest, a girl with long hair down to her knees tied into a low ponytail, bows to Tayuya. Any, big sis? Will you be around to play with us while we're here? The sleepy one is already next to a flustered Tayuya, clamping a hand onto her new blue tunic. Could we nap together instead? I'm still sleepy. The girl looked ready to fall back asleep any second. The third, hair cut in a shorter Heim cut, with bright green eyes, was holding up a picture book. Could you read us a book then? You're not busy, right? Right? Clearly flustered but not wanting to say no right away, Tayuya looked to Tsunade for help, who promptly dashed her hopes like waves on the rocks at their shore. Well, would you look at that, I think I have some personal business to attend to. Tayuya, why don't you stay here and watch this group for a while until I return? Now wait a minute, hey wait. Tsunade holds a finger to her lips and silences the girl. You think all you have is fighting? Maybe, just maybe, you have other callings in life besides that. It isn't as if you have explored all of your options just yet. Try this out, for just a while. Then she was gone, trailing along to another group of refugees while Tayuya was pulled down to sit among the group of brown-haired green-eyed girls. N.E., big sis, your hair is really pretty. Did you make it red or is it usually red? Big sis here, here's the book please? Sleepy, head in Tayuya's lap, the third sister was already doshing back off. Beyond flustered, Tayuya switched to thinking of this as a mission to try and calm herself down, taking the book and beginning to read as softly as she could while the 2 awake siblings cuddled on up to her. She wasn't comfortable with this at first, but soon she began to think maybe Tsunade was right. This was nice. Healing in a way. Plus at least with these kids she wasn't so bored. In spring, Kiyuki is in her office while Kotohime is at her right shoulder and Kin is standing at her left. Sitting at a desk off to the left is Sandayu, going through files she had yet to read just yet. Their workload had been getting larger as of yet and again Kiyuki lamented not having Naruto as an official cage just yet. At least then she could have him shoulder a bit of the burden. Today however had all occupants of the room united over one sore topic. Kotohime had noted that several chakra senses had picked up a known signature. Jiraiya the Toad Sage had been sighted in spring. Kiyuki sighs, knowing this day was bound to happen but had hoped it might have been much later. I know you both are new to our group, but we can't let Jiraiya know that we know anything about Naruto or where he had gone. Which means we'll need to get word to him soon to warn him. Kotohime bows lightly. I can warn Naruto right away through the seal, if it's that urgent? Seeing Kiyuki nod, Kotohime starts to leave for her task. Return soon sister. Kin's voice rings out, still not 100% back to her normal self, but slowly getting there. Kotohime pauses, turning back and hugging her sister. It's just a quick errand. I won't even be leaving the mansion. After then Kotohime is soon gone and out of the doorway to find the Haration tag in the common room. Left behind Kin is silent while Kiyuki thinks to herself as she rifles through her paperwork. Kin, how are you adjusting to life here? She didn't know much about the newcomer to the group, but she seemed like a sweet girl. My memory isn't perfect by any measure. I am better than when I first woke all the same. And I hope to restart my training and catch up to the others soon. I don't want to continue to be a burden. Kiyuki smiles to herself. You aren't a burden. In fact, I very much enjoy your company. So please do not think yourself as such. I hope you meet your goals, but please don't push yourself harder than you need to. Healing is your first priority. I appreciate the concern. Kin had been trying to model herself more after her big sister. Strong and skilled, elegant, beauty personified. She had a long way to go, but she'd get there one day. Thank you, however, for allowing me to heal and stay with you. Kiyuki waves her off. Honestly, thank Naruto. If not for him, we wouldn't have been able to remove the seals from you, and I can't imagine what we would have had to do to you then. If we even could have broken you from those seals' grasp. Kin knew the chance of that without a seal master. So she also knew exactly where she would have ended up after the hypothetical first and most horrendous attempt. Before she gets a chance to say anything, Kotohime glides back into the room. Naruto is notified and has informed me that they will not be returning to Spring until they know for sure that Jiraiya has left Spring. Kotohime did pull a handful of scrolls from the inner workings of her yukata. He did give me several scrolls with instructions to add them to the chakra senses around the mansion grounds. Supposedly these will allow the senses to see through Jiraiya's concealment jutsu. Good. Kiyuki nods and turns to her oldest advisor and friend, Sandayu. Can you call up a couple squads of Spring Ninja? One have a job for them. She hoped her ninja could place them properly with just the instructions given to them from Naruto. Sandayu stands and leaves to attend to the task, knowing they had a few squads on hand at all times on the lower floors. Kotohime sighs as she returns to Kiyuki's side. I wish I could have dragged Naruto here. He could use the time off. Sounds like an attempt from a lazy person to be lazy. Kin snipes quietly at her sister. Sister dear, really, I'm not so boorish. Kiyuki snorted. If we left you and Naruto alone in a broom closet, you'd probably have your clothes off before we even closed the door. Kotohime huffs. It's not my fault, Naruto is just so amashing and hot. Kiyuki does consider that. I wouldn't mind a little more time with him as well. Kin thinks on that. The tall one, Jugo, is more interesting, I think. Though she was mumbling to herself, both older women heard her. Oh ho, so my dear sister has eyes for the gentle giant? So quick as well. Waving her hands, she missed Kiyuki giggling. No, it's not like that. So you say, maybe we should lock you in a broom closet with him to find out. Kotohime had missed being able to tease her sister. She'd have to thank Naruto again for this opportunity. Something personal. B. The dawn of a new day finds the focus switched to the mission-bound Team 7 from Konoha. Having reached the landmark bridge that they themselves had defended, most of the team was in high spirits. Sakura was nudging Sasuke while pointing at the bridge. It really is an impressive thing, isn't it? Sasuke heaved a sigh but nodded along. Tazuna really did an amazing job. He was looking ahead, however, to a statue that looked like it had copies of the original Team 7 formation. It that us? The group walked up to inspect memorial, reading the inscription and having their own thoughts. Kakashi sits back, still very proud of his genin team that apparently had motivated a country to truly take back their future if the procession of people in and out of the main gate was anything to go by. Seems we've acknowledged you as a team. Sasuke sat back with a small smile on his face, more like they acknowledged Naruto, that idiot. I hope he gets to see this one day. He notes Sai has his art pad out, sketching the memorial and the bridge. Sakura nods. One way or another, when we see him again we'll drag him here so he can see it for himself. He has a bridge named after him now. Oh god, like his ego needs another boost. Shit, you're right. What do you think he'll do? Sasuke pointed to his headband, knowing him? Probably drag the council here and rub it in their faces. Sakura giggles and nods. Either that or find a way to make a bridge-shaped explosion. Kakashi motions for the team to get moving. Come now, we still have some ground to cover. We are here for a mission after all. Getting everyone walking again, he watches as Sai leans forward while putting his art pad away. This was an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud. Sasuke and Sakura both nod, though Sasuke is the one who answers. It was a hard mission. We learned a lot from it and it was probably the first time we really came together as a team properly. Sakura nudged the boy again. Naruto did nearly die saving you. I wanted to forget that part. He was being completely honest about that as well. Some nights when he was alone, he could still feel Naruto's blood on his face, that dark socket that used to hold his obliterated eye staring at him crying red tears. If Naruto didn't have the QB sealed within him, he probably wouldn't have been a ninja after that. They all probably wouldn't have made it through that mission without Naruto if Sasuke was being honest about it. Kakashi, however, frowns as he feels something crawl over his skin. It's gone within moments, but he resolves to keeping an eye out for anything out of place while they were here beyond what their mission asked. Walking into town and being met with bright and focused faces, Team 7 can already note that this is a busy port town. It was the exact opposite of what they had originally been met with during their last mission here. It was so different in fact that Sasuke and Sakura wanted to explore a bit on their own. Sai in his own way is curious as well but doesn't voice an opinion. Kakashi leans down to the genin to speak with them quietly. I think it's best if we stick together for now, though I suppose we can explore for a little while. Kakashi was paying attention to the fact that several vendors seemed to be paying close attention to their headbands. To the older Leaf Nin it was much more than normal curiosity and further twisted something in his gut. His instincts were telling him something was going on. Letting Sakura and Sasuke lead the way while dragging a bored-looking Sai along, Kakashi followed them quietly. First stop through the busy marketplace is the dock area where the team watches the coming and going of some truly massive ships, all in some state of either being unloaded or loaded of goods. Out in the distance they could see fishing boats moving about and working, but beyond that there was a wall of mist that was stubbornly refusing to clear even with the heat of the day. Sakura, however, was looking at a recurring logo on several of the warehouses that matched with some that were visible on the largest of the container ships. Looks like Wave took over Gato's empire. Wonder what that logo means though. It was the image of a blue Oni mask with a background of waves. Kakashi shrugged. With as busy as the port is, it would explain all of the civilian movements in and out of Wave. Work here must be pretty steady. Sasuke watched idly as a fit-looking pig-tailed boy helped load a waiting transport cart with a crew of older men. Refugee must be. Looking away, Sasuke wondered how Tazuna and his family were doing. Should we try to track down Tazuna? Maybe he's heard something? Kakashi smiled behind his mask. That's a good idea. I think I remember the way well enough. Let's go. Plan set. The group continued on, walking away from the docks and making their way back onto the main road. From there the flow of people thinned out, though there was a healthy amount of people within a large warehouse just off the main road they were walking on. Large sign along its front proclaiming it an aid station. Sakura turned to the others. We should check in here. Refugees would have more information, right? Seeing her teammates look at each other before shrugging and nodding, they changed directions and made to head inside the station. They were stopped, however, by an official-looking person holding a clipboard and a name tag proclaiming her name as Akari. Short brown hair done up in a high ponytail, the woman was just shy of Kakashi's height. I'm sorry, but our rules require all ninja either stay away or register with the appropriate aid providers. Sure, ninja could disguise themselves, but they had seals just for those situations. Kakashi waved a hand. Sorry, we're just passing through. My student has some medical training and was thinking of offering her help. A heavily muscled man walked from inside to move past the apparent coordinator. You okay, Miss Akari? I'm fine, Bruno. Don't you have work to get to? Yes, ma'am. Dark eyes roamed over the ninja before shrugging. Beginning to walk away, the man waved to Akari. Peace to you, Bruno. Fallen willing. Soon he was lost in the crowd and Akari turned her attention back to the ninja. We have strict guidelines we must follow. Akari was eyeing the pink-haired girl who was walking forward. Akari slid a finger close to a seal on the clipboard's front that was unseen to the ninja. Sakura caught on quickly to her sensei's thinking, nodding along and showing off her medical bag. I can help treat wounded or the sick if you don't mind and need the help. I have medical ninja training. Akari, however, shook her head while bowing, hands coming away from the panic seal. My apologies. Again, we can't accept aid from unknown ninja. Please understand. We have things well at hand here. Kakashi could see the reasoning behind not letting random ninja enter an aid station. They were from one of the major villages, however, that had to carry some weight? He wouldn't press the issue nonetheless. That's all right, we should continue to our destination. Come along, Sakura. Dejected, the pink-haired girl nodded and left with her team. Kakashi quietly looked over his shoulder, Akari watching them for a moment before returning back through the open warehouse doors. No one else seemed to follow them or watch them. It was odd that she moved on them so quickly. Perhaps they were already prepared to see them? Moving away from the main hub of activity, the team made their way into the suburbs. Thankfully the team did remember their way because they were soon before Tazuna's home and knocking on the door. Waiting and hearing footsteps, they were greeted by a surprised Tsunade who happily hailed them inside before closing the door behind them. Welcome back Team 7. It's great you're able to visit us. Tsunade looked between them all before her eyes landed on Sai. Oh, who's this ? Did something happen to Naruto ? As the team was seated around the table and offered refreshments, Kakashi set about answering that question. There have been some things going on, but Naruto is well, had to take a little break is all. Oh, well, that eye injury must have been serious. I hope he's doing better. Tsunade grinned internally while she poured tea for everyone. This was fun. I'm sure then you've seen the bridge. Did you like the statue ? Sakura gushes a bit. You can't let Naruto see that, it'll go all to his head. Sasuke shakes his head. That's her way of saying she likes it too. Hush you. Tsunade laughs at their antics for a bit before seating herself at the head of the table. What brings you around these parts ? Not another dangerous mission I hope. Kakashi looks around but doesn't sense anyone else in the home. Is Tazuna out ? Eyes wide, Tsunade thumps the table as if remembering something important. Father has been called for a very good job recently off the island. He said it's going to be long term, so I don't expect him back for a long while yet. Inari decided to go along. He wants to learn how to be a super builder just like my father. Smiling, the older woman shrugged. Boys. Sakura nods along sagely while Sasuke groans about know-it-all women. The elbow to his gut is well earned in retrospect. Kakashi ignores them. We're actually investigating some rumors. Do you know who's in control of Gato's shipping company now ? Tsunade seems to think that one over, finger to her chin. Well, Wave took control of it not long after you left. We've had a financier come in recently to help with some funding. We've painted his seal in several notable places as a show of thanks. Kakashi frowned. Are you sure this isn't another Gato situation ? Tsunade shook her head. You've seen our town. No, it's nothing like that time. We're all very happy here and thriving. With all the business though we've been taking in refugees and migrants. It's all been so overwhelming. No lie there, things had been so busy lately. While she wouldn't be after Naruto's affections, a back rub did sound a mashing once in a while. Kakashi relaxed a bit into his seat, so the increased civilian movements were related to the ports then. Maybe they could try to find some shipping logs ? See where things were headed ? No. That'd lead to potential conflict, which wasn't what they were here for. Well, that's good to see. Busy means you're thriving after all. Tsunade smiles brightly at that. Very true. To be alive is to thrive. How are things for your group, or is it secret ninja business ? Kakashi shakes his head. Well, I can't tell you much about the village, but these two here. Kakashi motions to his resident lovebird students, started dating. Sakura blushes hotly. Hey. That's our business to tell. Sasuke plants his face into the table as Tsunade begins to gush over the two. Leave it to Kakashi to throw them under the bus. Sai leans over to Kakashi. She's very excitable. Kakashi agrees. It's an improvement from how things were before. This was a run-down place when we first arrived. It's good to see them up and on their feet. They spend an hour catching Tsunade up as much as they can with the going-ons and business. Soon, however, they have to leave and Kakashi is ushering them out. He'd like to make good time back to the village. Things were normal here, and while his instincts were prickling, there was nothing out of the ordinary that they could see. Genin leaving through the door, Kakashi is forced to pause as Tsunade comes up to him from behind, a scroll passing into a pouch on his vest. Her breath was hot on his ear. Thank you, for what you did for Naruto. Within a moment she was gone, back in the hallway and waving them all away, Kakashi wanting to turn back and demand what she knew. That tone, it wasn't just a thanks towards an attentive sensei. No, she knew something and he wasn't sure just what it was. Even so, things in his mind were beginning to line up, everything that had been bugging him through their visit coming to mind, and he nodded to her slowly. He wouldn't get answers now, but maybe later. The team makes their way back towards the bridge, their report going to show that everything was normal here. Across the strait and nestled in a quiet home unknown to the Leaf Ninja team, Naruto and Hinata are relaxing together on a borrowed couch in the second story of the condo. Their entire team had been given use of this two-story condo until the admin building was completed. Tazuna had mentioned to the group that the upper floors would actually be their future living quarters and to look forward to it. Naruto had faith it would be a mashing if Tazuna was designing it himself. Leaning further into the couch, Naruto took a deep breath before releasing it tiredly. How long do you think it'll take the others to grab food? Hinata smiled. Between Ino, Tayuya, and Karen? It'll take them half an hour just to decide what to get. Poor Jugo being used as manual labor. The larger boy had been adamant however about guarding the three. Naruto couldn't dissuade him and decided to let it go. Hinata took the chance to lean into his side and cuddle into him. This is nice though. We haven't had much time to relax. Naruto nods, an arm coming around and settling onto her shoulders. I know I'm pushing hard. After this and the trip to Konoha I promise we'll relax and ease up at least for a few months. I'll do whatever you girls want. Hinata giggled and looked up into his eyes. Careful Naruto, never know what we'll want from you. She reached up, tracing the scar along his left temple. It was nearly gone now, his enhanced healing was truly something. Naruto smiles, for you? I'll do anything. He's quiet for a moment as his mind wanders. You know, I want to say thank you. For believing in me and coming along. You had faith in me before anyone else. I hope I can keep making you proud. Hinata just shakes her head. I would follow you anywhere anytime. I'll be the moon to your sun. She leans up, kissing him softly before pulling away with a blush. A look passes between the two, before Naruto takes the initiative and pulls her into him, kissing her deeply. Tongues twist against each other, and Hinata rolls over to climb into his lap to have more access to him. Hands on his chest, she spreads his jacket open slightly. Naruto himself slides his hands up and down her sides. As they break away from their kiss for a moment, a strange heat between the two, he merely watches the blushing and panting girl above him. Carefully, slowly, he begins to move his hands up further. Gently cupping her chest, they lean in to continue their makeout session before they hear the downstairs door begin to open. Groaning as they both freeze, Hinata places her hands over his to keep him from moving. Hinata, they're back. Hinata has a strange look in her eye, before she presses his hands harder into her. I guess, we can continue this later then? Naruto nods as Hinata finally releases him and stands, body tingling in a pleasant way. Yeah, later. He stands right after her, heading towards the door with her. Hinata leans over a bit, pulling one side of her orange tank top aside and showing off some skin. Like I said, I'm here for you, now and always. Once our new home is complete, maybe we can break it? Naruto pauses for a moment before deciding he needed to take some more initiative. He pulls the girl into his arms again. One soul-searing kiss later, Naruto is pulling away from the overheated and frozen girl. Keep that up, and I'll break you in on every surface available. Leaving the girl to figure herself out, Naruto descended the stairs to find the others. Now that was a good feeling. It'd be better if you walked back in there and finished the job. It's called patience, you should work on that. I deal with you, I think I get some consideration for that alone. What are you trying to say? Naruto was now downstairs and watching as Ino and Tayuya argued over some absolutely insane food portion sizes. Were they feeding an army? At least Jugo looked content at the table, happily munching away on something deep fried. That dealing with you is like trying to herd mentally deficient cats, that are sick, and maybe missing limbs. That was detailed. Not my best work. Also, incoming. Naruto missed the orange and blue blur that tackled him from the stairway and laid him out. He didn't miss the chaos that followed as the rest of the girls tried to get in on the dog pile. Well, at least his life wasn't boring. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.